I'm Chris Erdmann, and this is Made of More, the show where we go beyond business to uncover real stories that shape entrepreneurs, leaders, and change makers. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, we explore the pivotal moments, the adversity faced, the risks taken, and the resilience found along the way. This isn't just about what people have built, it's about who they've become. If you're ready for inspiration, practical insights, and stories that remind you that you too are made of more, you're in the right place. Welcome to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and today I have a special guest, Katey Dallosto. Did I say that right, Katey?
You did. Perfect.
All right. Unique last name. Love it. It's got some Italian background to it, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Yes. I'm half Irish, half Italian, which means I like a loud fight.
All right. Well, I'm half Filipino, half German. So we like the same things.
There we go.
Katey's our guest today, and a little bit about Katey. She's I think of her as like a transformational coach within the real estate industry and lending industry. She's got a vast background of being involved in these industries for, I think, the past 20 plus years. Is that correct, Katey?
Yes. I feel like one of those 900-year-old people that never retire from real estate. So I got to make sure I retire from real estate at some point.
Oh yeah, I feel the same way. I just want to keep going and going, but there's got to be some light at the end of the tunnel with some vacations, some sandy beaches out there, right?
Agreed.
Katey and I, we bumped into each other and got to know each other from a real estate conference with EXP a while back, and then just kind of got reunited again because we're working with a client together on a bigger commercial development site. So got to say thanks for that connection.
My pleasure.
I've spent quite a bit of time talking on the phone just of lately and I've learned quite a bit about mindset, and also learned a bit about you. Like, you're an author and a family member, and just you're a very well-rounded professional person.
Thank you. It's a unique background, which I realize comes into play in a variety of different things. And one of my favorite things is meeting people like you, Chris, and connecting. Like, I've never met a stranger ever in my life. My mom used to say that I would never have been kidnapped. I would have just gone willingly, like, come on, we can be friends. Let's figure it out. So, and that's still how I am. I'm a very open, trusting. I have no secrets, for better, for worse. And, I said, my patchwork quilt of my life has got some dark spots and some bright spots, and the contrast is what makes it exciting. So I'm willing to have those pieces of contrast and learning and things that I've experienced, that if I can share with somebody else to make their travel along this road of life a little easier, that's a bit where my coaching style comes from.
Oh, I love it. That's a refreshing outlook on life. As we're going to get into it here, what I want to know is, before you became this coach, where did this all start? Sounds like your mom's identified some characteristics about you early on. Like, but where did this passion for real estate, mortgage coaching, where did it all start from?
Yeah, so it's my favorite question to ask real estate agents, whether when I was running a real estate office and recruiting, or when I was working for a mortgage company and developing mortgage real estate partnerships, is I always like to ask the question, like, how'd you get into this business? Because most people chose real estate as a second or third career. A very small percentage of people in this business were born into real estate. They're out there, but it's a small percentage.
I was not born into it.
I wasn't either. I was in corporate sales. I always start off my story with, I went to Catholic school, so I learned how to sell in the first grade.
You tell me about this. How'd you learn to sell in the first grade?
Well, in the first grade at St. Agnes School in Concord, California, in the San Francisco Bay Area, we had boxes of chocolate bars, and that was what we had to sell, these chocolate bars as a fundraiser for the school. Every Catholic school does some sort of a fundraiser. And ours was chocolate candy bars. They were actually really good. I remember them. And if you sold 6 boxes and each box had like 20 candy bars in it, you got to go to Great America. Oh, 6. I mean, what is better than going to Great America when you're 6, right? Like, let's do it.
Yeah.
It's just the best. So I came home and I told my parents I was going to sell 6 boxes of candy bars, and my dad came home from work and we walked the neighborhood, and I started knocking on doors at 6 years old. I still don't take rejection personally. They just didn't want the candy bars. Like, no big deal. Go to the next house. Someone's going to buy them. Or made sure that I had my school uniform on, so they knew I was from St. Agnes, and knocked on lots and lots of doors. So I've been literally knocking on just, well, I mean, I mean, you're 6, right? Don't remember my script, but I did it. I was a fundraiser through high school. I still hold a record at the high school for selling the most pizzas. And then I got into corporate sales after I graduated from college at Santa Clara University. So got into sales really quickly after I graduated, and sold a bunch of different things, moved a little bit. And then when I had baby number 3, it wasn't quite going to work. Like having being traveling and going all over the place, it just was like, this is not working. And a friend of mine said, well, you can sell anything. Why don't you sell something with a big price tag and get your real estate license? And she was a friend of my parents and wanted some support for her business. And so we started working together. So I had a mentor right away, which was awesome. And the interesting part about it is within 6 months of selling real estate, because I had such a strong corporate sales background, I had mortgage companies, title companies kept asking me to train. And I was like, train on what? And they're like, the sales stuff that you know. And I was like, well, doesn't everybody know this? And still stuff I teach today.
Hold on, let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
So walk me through your first year of real estate. So you got your license. What next? I want to dig into your experience.
Yeah, again, I'm a salesperson. So I did the whole, reaching out to my sphere of influence. I got listings right away from friends and family. I've been door knocking since I was 6. Door knocking around an open house was easy. Actually, my open house story is kind of funny. May I tell you my first open house story?
Not yet. And I want to hear it.
Okay. So I hadn't even gotten my license. Like, I had taken the test. We were waiting for the license to come in. The owner of this real estate office was like, hey, you can hold open an open house, but since you're not technically licensed, you just can't say the price. You just have to hand them a flyer. Mm-hmm. No problem. I'm like, this is going to be great. Door knocked around the house, invited people to come. It was a vacant house in a neighborhood I wasn't really familiar. But I was all excited to have my first open house, of course, made the cookies, right? So it would smell like home. And right before I was about to close up, this older couple in the backyard tripped. The wife tripped and fell and hit her head on the concrete. And the husband yelled from the backyard that his wife had passed out and I needed to call 911. Yeah. So my very first open house, I called 911. So
wow. What a traumatic experience.
The funny part was I still do. I teach open house classes, like how to have a successful open house. I believe a great open house is a party. And I said, part of what you need to do is set expectations early. Like, what is a successful open house? How do you know when you've hit a home run or a base hit? Because, the World Series starts today. And so I said, for me, a successful open house was don't call 911, right? Like that was just sort of a bare minimum. If I don't have to call 911 and actually, make some new friends, then it's great. But so it's everything is relative. Everything is about perspective. And so I loved doing open houses. I thought they were great. I loved door knocking. I'd been doing it my whole life and just came easy. And then within 18 months of running of being in real estate, I got recruited to help run a 225 agent real estate office.
Okay.
So it was quick. I didn't sell for a relatively long period of time, but I've been licensed for over 20 years.
You've been licensed. Tell me a little bit about these open houses. What did you actually like about what made you successful?
Well, again, I always treated open houses like a party, right? Mm-hmm. Like, so just like if you were going to have a party, if you're going to have a World Series party at your house, and all you did is open the front door and put a sign out that said, I'm having a World Series party, come on in, how many people might actually show up, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's a party, you need to invite people. So you invite the neighbors. I used to email my entire sphere about an open house that I had coming up. Hey, I'm going to have food from this local restaurant. We're going to have it be a baseball theme, or having hot dogs, or whatever theme I wanted for that particular time. So I made it a party. But the fun part about when you email your entire database, even if they're out of state, out of area, it didn't matter. because you get the emails back, the text messages, the phone calls. Hey, how did your open house go? Sorry, I couldn't make it, or we were out of town, or, hey, I saw you were doing an open house. How'd it go? And so then it gave me a reason to show off. Right. It'd be like, yeah, it was my open house. It was amazing. Right. And so we had all sorts of traffic come through, but then it made it more fun. When there's, even if it's the neighbors coming by, it's still fun. It's still this party atmosphere. And it's the true buyers that are walking in, or the people that are thinking about selling their home, and they're seeing all this activity, and they're like, they don't know that half the people there are your friends. They don't know, like, that. They're just like, wow, there's a lot of traffic in this open house. This thing may be going quickly. If we're going to make an offer, we better do it. So it created some energy and some urgency around it too. My other thing that I did is I never had flyers that anybody could. I had one flyer that I would hold in my hand, and people would say, okay, because we've trained people to walk into open houses and to get a flyer. Yep. Right. We have trained the consumer to do that. And so I used to hold my one flyer in my hand, or sometimes I'd have it like in a plexiglass little holder, and somebody would say, oh, could I get a flyer? And I was like, oh, you know what? We just ran out. I'm getting some more printed. Could I get your email address? And I'll email to it. Now, today you do it with a QR code. Right. And they have to enter in their email address. And so, one, you're not printing out flyers that are going to end up on the backseat of somebody's car, and spending all the money around that. And then also you get lead capture. Right. So you're getting to capture people's information and have some follow up around that as well.
That's brilliant. I love all that. And you're actually the first person that I've ever heard say that they emailed their entire sphere for an open house. I got to say that's bold. And I also think that it's brilliant to update people on it. I'm sure that that email can transform in many different ways into probably a market update or something a little bit more personal as well.
Most people, I've been in real estate for 20 years, and people still come up to me. They go, so are you still in real estate? Right. And I was like, and when you're new in the business, even when you've been in the business for 5 or 10 years, people are like, oh, are you still in real estate? Because they know there's turnover in our business.
Oh, so if you're doing that real estate thing?
Yeah. If you're not telling people what you're doing, how are they supposed to know? Right? They're not mind readers. They don't follow you around. And it's just like, hey, this is what I'm doing today. And if all you're a realtor, you're like Phil from Modern Family. Well, no, that's not how we do it, right? This is what I'm doing today. And letting your sphere know, letting your followers know, this is what we're doing. And this is what I'm thinking about this week. And I do a weekly video that I post on all my social media of sort of like, this is the mindset topic of the week. And it's always based on conversations people have had with me during the week. And I'm like, all right, I'm hearing a theme on multiple conversations. It's out there energetically in the world. So I'm going to talk about it. And sometimes it's self-talk. Let's be real, right?
It's most self-talk.
Yeah. Like I need to get this lesson again too. So let's do some self-talk.
Yeah. Do you want to give me an example, and the rest of everybody that's listening, about this self-talk that that you get your clients to overcome and that you've had to overcome?
Yeah. Well, all right, I'm going to shamelessly plug my book because it's if you don't mind.
I was going to ask you, but you go ahead.
I'll just shamelessly plug it. So my book is called Fortune Cookie Leadership. And I wrote it because when I was running a real estate office, I did a weekly sales meeting. And when you're running a real estate office, they're independent contractors. They don't have to come to the sales meeting. So you got to make the sales meeting, at least interesting. And I always made mine fun, but always would start off with a motivational quote or a motivational video. And every week, like working on what's going to be my motivational quote of the week was sometimes exhausting, because if you Google inspirational quotes, you'll drown. It's too many, right? And so I was like, gosh, I wish I had a book sitting on my desk. I could flip through and go like, yeah, that one, that sounds perfect. We're going to do that. It also, my book is written in memory of my mom. She was the queen of the one-liners. And so my daughter told me that I parented like a fortune cookie. So that's why it's Fortune Cookie Leadership. So it's 52 one-liners, one for each week, a little story of where the one-liner originated, and then the message for your business or your life. And so it was a lot. So that's my weekly little motivational series is around fortune cookie wisdom. So still like these one-liners, these something just little tidbits. Like if you want to go deep on any of those topics, you could absolutely go down a rabbit hole and really dig into like that particular topic really hit me today. I want to dig in a little bit more. You can do that. But for the most part, it was more of like just these reminders. So the one I did yesterday was around connection with social media. And I mean, I'm a huge AI fan and how AI is automating a lot of things. What should help you do is create more systems more quickly so that you can get out in front of people. I'm a huge believer that technology is designed to get us away from our computers. There's so many tools out there that can get us away from our computers and getting face to face. Technology is designed, real estate technology is designed to get us face to face, to get us appointments, to get us interacting with people. Because one of my friends and mentors says we've spent more time around campfires as human beings than we have around computers. And so there's part of our brain chemistry that's designed to have connection with humans sitting around a campfire. And the more we spend in kind of a screen, the worse it is for our mental health, for our personal growth, for people to get perspective. Because if all you're ever listening to is people that agree with you all the time, doesn't help any of us grow. And being around whoever our campfire is, and sometimes it's even just, I'm going to go and sit at a coffee shop and just people watch and just, like maybe check my email, but just to be around other humans. Otherwise, we continue to deal with isolation and loneliness. And real estate's a very lonely job. Even though you're around people a lot, you're working. You're
working
in a stage environment. There's not a lot of, even if you've become friends with your clients, it's not when you're in the middle of the transaction, right?
That's right. So I love that you're focusing on connection, because I think all of life is based on connection, caring, and service. That's my perspective, and I agree. As being in this business about 20 years, it's like even though you're on and you're around wonderful people all the time, and you are having deep, meaningful communication and connections, but for short spans, like 30, 45 days usually is that span of relationship, and then it kind of spans out between the time that you're. What kind of before our break here in a minute, what are a couple of your top tools that you like to coach on for getting people connected?
You guys are going to hate me for this one. Your phone, right? Like pick up the phone.
So instead of text, call
people. They want to hear your voice. I mean, there's so much in communication and tone of voice and cadence and energy and like the sound of, you start thinking of like, I remember my grandmother's tone of voice, right? And how that felt, right? It's different than the text, right? Oh, I remember how nice it was to get a funny emoji. No, right? I like, I like having the conversations. And then it's an opportunity when you pick up the phone to say, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Hey, do you want to go for a walk? Go for a hike? Get a cup of coffee?
That in-person connection.
Yeah. I mean, even if there's somebody that's far away, it's like, hey, have you, do they live someplace cool? But it might be fine to schedule a visit to live someplace
or invite them over.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. We're going to leave everybody with that thought. We're going to get into your second. But right now we're going to go to a few messages. You're listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann. We're sitting here with Coach Katey, and we'll be back. Stay tuned in because we're going to be back to get right into it.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hello, I'm Chris Erdmann. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I sit down with inspiring entrepreneurs, creative minds, and game changers to uncover the real stories behind their business. On my show, Made of More, We explore the challenges that they've overcome, the breakthroughs that they've celebrated, and the mindset that drives them forward. If you're ready to unlock your full entrepreneurial potential, Made of More is the show for you, because here we know you are made of more. Every Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW.
Tell your friends about Alternative Talk 1150.
Welcome back to the show, Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and I'm sitting here with Coach Katey, the queen coach of the real estate and lending industry, with 20 years plus experience. And we just ended the last segment with, her two top tools. And she was talking about your phone for connection. And then what's number two?
Well, I think we talk about connection is about energy rise. And I think it's community. So find the thing that you like to do, that you would do for free, and you would just show up and bring great energy because you're excited about it. And doesn't matter to me if that's a cycling club, volunteering at a soup kitchen, your alma mater's alumni association.
What's one of your favorite for you to do? I can think for me, one of my favorite things is I mountain bike quite a bit. And I try to invite, that's my golf, right? Golf has been the traditional networking, connecting. Yes. My golf has been mountain biking for sure. Cool. And sometimes, not as of lately, but camping, overlanding.
Oh, wow. Wow.
What about you?
Yeah, mine has become in the last couple of years, volunteering at church. Partly because I was doing a YouTube show during the pandemic with my priest. And so that kind of got me sucked in. And
that sounds interesting. What's that about?
It was straight comedy is what. So the pastor of my church, he and I grew up together. We've known each other since we were kids. During the pandemic, he wanted to find a way to reach out to his community and was like, how do we do this? And he had nothing to do. He's like, I'm so bored. So he brought me on. We almost did like a Regis and Kathy Lee sort of a thing. Yeah. We'd have a topic.
Was it called The Priest and I, or what would you call it?
So, I mean, when it first started, I said, do you understand that it's going to be your dad and my dad are going to be the only people watching this? Like, this will be fun for us because we just make fun of each other. And we would discuss some things. Sometimes we would just talk about Italy. We were supposed to go to Italy and during 2020, and obviously that got canceled. So we just did an Italy show where we just talked about things we love about Italy, and there's religious pieces. There were some religious components to everything. And sometimes we did a free for all. People just, hey, send in your questions about things. And I mean, I went to Catholic school through college, and some people asking questions. I'm like, I have no idea or whatever. And he's like, how did you go to this much Catholic education and not know these things? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I'm like, you can be mad at me about it, or we can figure it out. So, but it was really fun. And we ended it in 2022, and we still get people that will see me and be like, oh, hey, I remember you from In Lieu of the Pew. And I'm like, okay.
In Lieu of the Pew. I love that name.
That's hilarious because the churches were closed down. So In Lieu of the Pew, you can come and watch us. And
very creative.
It was very creative. Honestly, it was a blast. We had so much fun, but we just laughed the whole time. The most interesting one was that we had a lot of people is that we had an exorcist come on and talk about what it's like and a real life exorcist. And I was wow, that's crazy. So
I would love to listen to that show. That sounds like that could be a whole podcast itself, The Exorcist.
Exactly. Yeah, it was fun. It was really fun.
What I love, I could see that you're genuine about it. Like you would do that for free. That was the main thing. It's like, what's something in your community that you would do for free to spend time with people? Because business is very personal. It's about relationships. And the best business, the interactions that I've ever had have been with friends or friends of friends. And it's because it feels warmer. You built trust early on, and you've already got some commonality, maybe in a few different areas. And so I love that those are your top two things: calling, building your community.
Absolutely. Because in my experience, I should ask this with you as well. Typically real estate is hyper local. Right? So, I mean, so being involved in your community and knowing about community events or community opportunities for other people to connect, right? To be like, hey, I'm not a mountain biker, but if I knew there was a group that got together with mountain biking, I might share that on social media. Like, hey, if you're in this area, there's a mountain biking club. I'll meet you at the end of your mountain biking run at the Starbucks or, whatever. But you guys have fun and tell me how it goes. Right.
Oh, the other thing that I really love is I don't drink a whole lot of wine, but I do have an appreciation for wine. And then I love food. I'm kind of a foodie. So I put together 2 events lately. One was at my friend Valentina's wine shop in Bellevue, and another one was at the Bellevue Club, which was basically wine and appetizers. Both were a great hit. People really, I watched the actual wine connoisseurs, which knew 1,000 times more than me, really get into it and start talking shop, and that food and beverage really loosens up the vibe between people and gets people talking. I was wondering, like, how was the event at the Bellevue Club? How was that going to turn out? Because it was a 3-hour event, started at 5, ended at 8.
Wow.
And I just had a short 15-minute presentation about one of my projects one of these development projects that I'm on, and just telling him about where is it at today and compared to what was Bellevue like 30 years ago, or what were some of these new development sites, where were they 30 years ago before they took off? And I was like, and everybody was like, what are people going to do for the rest of the 2.5 hours after the presentation, the Q&A? But I tell you what, there's 80 people that showed up, and probably about 75 of them stuck around till the very end at 8 o'clock. And I was like, wow. And it's been a few weeks since then, and people are still calling me today or texting me and just like, what a great time that they've had over there, connecting with everybody. So one of my gifts to them was not necessarily the food and beverage, but the gift of connecting like-minded people together. And I was like, wow, I was so blown away.
And that's what people remember, is how they felt. Right. So it's, they may forget exactly which wine was their favorite, but they will remember the connection, the energy, for lack of a better phrase, the campfire of impact of being together with like-minded people sharing an experience.
Yeah. And I tell you what, that wasn't free. It cost me.
Yeah.
And I would do it again.
It's an investment, Chris. It's an investment.
Oh,
cheaper than therapy. So
cheaper. Yeah, that is cheaper than therapies. Well, speaking of investments, tell me some other ways that you coach or would like to share about investing into your business, whether it's for you or for your clientele.
Yeah, I believe in partnerships, right? I'm a big fan of 1 + 1 = 3. And, you and I are connected because of you being focused on commercial real estate. And I just think there's such an opportunity in our business for collaboration. And I find it interesting that there's commercial, as a residential agent, and being on the leadership side for most of my career, it's like, well, you can talk to, you can get support from your loan officer. You can get support from your title company. You can get support from your commercial agents in your company or in your community. And, and reaching out to create your own like campfire group, right? Of like, who are the people that we could all work together and make 1 + 1, have 5 people double each other's production, right? Yeah. And build this sense of community, because I think there's a massive disconnect between, so I want to ask you about this. Like, so I've always thought it would be a really easy back and forth residential to commercial, like, because of how we look at the business differently. I have a whole soapbox thing about how to answer how's the market, but we don't have to get into that right now.
I do want to get into that.
Oh gosh, it's just
later.
It's a soapbox issue. Yeah. But if I'm at a cocktail party, or I'm at, out for a walk, or run into a friend at the coffee shop or the grocery store, and it's like, hey, you run your own business. Do you own the building? Right. And I think that's a question that most realtors don't think to ask. And I'm asking you, like, do you get a lot of leads from residential agents? And where could residential agents not only help support their own business, their own community, but support their commercial agents in their neck of the woods?
Yeah. so the question, how do commercial agents and residential?
Well, how could there be a better part? Like I'm looking for creative ideas of how could residential and commercial real estate agents work more closely together. Like I don't think, do commercial agents consider residential agents referral sources?
I don't think a lot of commercial agents necessarily do, but I think that it's a valid referral source, and it could be a very big one. It comes back down to community and relationships. Like where are we spending our time and our energy and focus? Who are we giving back to? And I think and this is actually part of the reason why I admire you so much, is because you're a very holistic person. At the same time, really believing in technology, but it's clear it's about relationships, about community, it's about connect. And I think that that is a misgap. Commercial real estate agents and residential agents should have more conversations, should grab coffee together, should formulate a business group together with other professionals. I belong to a 60-person business group here in the East Side in Bellevue area, and it's got somebody from almost every industry in there, and it is a referral network, but it's not necessarily for me to get referrals. But I just find out what I've seen over the past couple of years is how many referrals I've given out to my group, and once in a while I'll get something back. So I think, like, even thinking bigger, it's like, yes, residential agents, they need to go out, and they should, in my opinion, is at least pick 5 to 10 other industry leaders, whether it's insurance, commercial insurance, residential insurance, and so on, and find a time to meet regularly. And the best groups that I've seen is there's commonalities between people, and those commonalities could be certain values like work ethic and actually having certain how they show up, and do they believe in giving first, having that giving first mentality. And so that's part of my belief system. And really checking yourself and understanding it's not what you can get out of it, but it's what you can give to the other people. Because hopefully you've picked your circle so carefully, and just knowing that they're the people that are also not necessarily expecting, but also wanting to give too. And giving doesn't always mean a referral for business. It could be they might give your referral for an attorney or a doctor or somebody, if they're not in the group, for when you need that, or when your clientele, even more importantly, when your clientele might need that. Because part of our value, whether you're in commercial or we're in residential, and I'd love to hear, is not closing a deal for your client is not the only thing. It's about being that connector of the escrow person, that painter. As funny as it sounds, maybe it's the chiropractor or the dentist. It's how connected are you?
Yeah, I think it's also, like I said, you're building relationships, right? Of hey, I want to be the hub of the wheel, right? Mm-hmm. And so with your clients, reminding them that you are the hub of the wheel. Like, look, I mean, it's people make this joke with me all the time that I know everybody. And I know people that, like, how do you know so? Don't ask how I know people in industries I should have no business knowing people, but I do. And so I love to dot connect, but it's something that is valuable, right? It's people would much rather get a referral of, like, hey, I know this guy, I know this gal, that kind of thing. But I also think that, to your point about your community of, like, oh, I was at this networking event, and one of the doctors was talking about this new program that they're going to be doing to help people with, there's a new thing to do for people with weak knees. And, hey, and it's like, oh, hey, my sister has something like that. That's where that stuff happens. And that's giving people a filter in their brain is really important, right? And really valuable. Like, oh, I hadn't thought about that, or that might be something else. And that's why I am shocked that there isn't more back and forth referrals between commercial and residential, right? Because, we're both in the people, well, Simon Sinek says 100% of clients are people, 100% of your team are people, right? So you're in the people business. We're all in the people business, right? So, but having that like, hey, what's one more question that a residential agent could be asking their clients, or what's an email or a social media post that can be done together? I mean, I'm even thinking about your wine event, like having it co-sponsored with one or two residential agents in the area to say, hey, invite your people. We're going to talk about what's happening as far from a development standpoint and what that means to them. And then what are the opportunities for those people, and what is the impact it's going to have in, their greater community. I mean, there's
absolutely
your brain spinning. I'm like, wait.
Yeah.
And then it's not so as expensive for you. So then, you're sharing but then it's, again, you got a larger group. There's more interaction. There's more conversations, and you just never know where something's going to eat.
And I had a few wonderful residential agents there, and also my business partner Stacy Graves, she helped invest in that as well. And so yeah, it's just bringing all the pieces of the pie together. I think you're really onto something. And what questions should residential asking? I think first of all they should ask their commercial friends, do your clients ever have a need for a residential? Most of the time it's going to be a yes.
Of course.
And then also asking their client, I love your question when you're going to somebody's business. Do you own the building that you're running your business out of? Love that. I mean, that's because that just turn into, it's obvious what it could turn into, just turn into so many things. And but the biggest question is, do you want to, and or why don't you?
Well, I mean, let me know when I can have my soapbox about how's the market. But
you have it right now. Well, how about let's do that here in a little bit, because let's end with that. So, and we're going to come back to the next segment here, because it's obvious we could have 5 or 6 shows and just keep going. So maybe you're going to you ended it with the priest, and maybe we'll continue another one together. So, so you're listening to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we got Coach Katey here, the queen coach of the mortgage and real estate business. So stay tuned right after these messages.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you ready to discover remarkable stories of resilience and cultural connection? This is Diaspora, a show sharing the journeys of first-generation immigrants from the Indian subcontinent now building their lives in North America. Inspiring, insightful, and always engaging, Diaspora offers a unique perspective on the immigrant experience. Join me, Aditya Mehta, my guests, on the Diaspora Show every Wednesday at 2 p.m. right here on KKNW.
Alternative Talk 1150, the talk of the sound.
Welcome back to the show Made of More. I'm your host, Chris Erdmann, and we're sitting here with Coach Katey, the queen coach of the real estate and mortgage business. Isn't that correct?
Yes, absolutely. It's I like it. I'm gonna have to get new business cards now. So and get that all.
Well, I got a referral for you. I got a good designer if you need one.
I love it.
Yeah. So, Coach Katey, you wanted to talk about how's the market, and this is a loaded question, and it is. And I actually heard you speak about it a little bit, and so I can't wait. Just how is the market? How do you want to answer that?
Well, here's the thing. This is the number one question that most real estate agents, and do you get it as a commercial agent? Do people say that to you? Hey, how's the market?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, they do. And there's many markets in one market.
Yes, there are. And how do you typically answer that question?
With a question.
Oh, good. What question do you use?
Well, what market are you speaking about first?
Excellent.
And I just leave it very open because I don't want to close it off and think for them. I want to leave a lot of room for me to listen to where they want to go and where their mind is, because The minute I started asking a pointed question, narrow it down, it means I've stopped listening to a certain degree. And for me, I just really want to open it up, and then I can help them niche it down.
Agreed. And I think that that's the challenge for most real estate agents. When I do public speaking, keynote speaking, it's a question I will put out there. And a lot of residential agents will like roll their eyes like, oh God, how's the market? I get it all the time. Like I was actually on another podcast, and this very successful luxury agent in the Bay Area. And she was like, oh, I used to avoid that at the kid drop off at school, that people like, how's the market? And it just drove me crazy. Mm-hmm. And then we had the conversation about how how's the market is the international sign for book an appointment. And she's like, I never thought about it like that before.
Say that again. I think that's worth repeating.
How's the market is the international sign for book an appointment.
And how do you take it from there to there?
Well, most people are asking how's the market, not because they don't know how to use Google. Because can you Google how's the market?
Absolutely.
Of course, you put it in ChatGPT, into their large language model. How's the market? And to your point, what market? Like, I mean, I'm in the San Francisco Bay Area, right? We have microclimates. We also have micro markets, as most areas do. I'm imagining there's no such thing as a average home in Bellevue. No. There's a statistic of what the average price is, but there's no such thing as an average home, because average to whom? It's extremely personal. It's extremely subjective. We talk about what is a big lot? What is a big backyard? There are parts of Washington State and California where a big yard is, 5 feet by 5 feet. There are parts of
400 acres.
Or it's 100 acres, right? Yeah. So we need to know what is your and look, when we're at a cocktail party, when we're out at the coffee shop, at the grocery store, I'm not going to get into let's dig deep into like, oh, I'm thinking like, oh, I usually say, what market, to your point, what market are you talking about? Or, where, how can I help? What's going on? Right. And then they're like, oh, it's a lot of time I'm just curious. And I'm like, you're not. All right. But and I was like, okay, about where? And it a lot of times is they're curious about their own home, because for most people, their home is their largest financial investment of their life. And it is their largest debt. Right. And so it's like, look, I'm not going to sit here in the peanut butter aisle and like, let's get into like how those alimony payments and like, how bad is your credit card debt? Is it good for you time to refinance? No, we're not doing that. That's weird. No,
you're not trying to take it all the way home.
No, it's like, hey, you know what? If you're curious about the value of your home, or kind of like, what you might be thinking, hey, have you done like an annual mortgage review? Or just a financial review, including your largest I'm assuming that your home is your largest financial asset, and pretty much everybody says yes. They say, great. Why don't we sit down and have a conversation? This is worthwhile a conversation, because the home is for most people's largest indicator of generational wealth and your largest asset at retirement age. So it's kind of important we're taking care of this. And who else do they talk to? Like, we have to think of ourselves as financial advisors, and we're not only going to be talking to them about their house when we sit down for a cup of coffee. Hey, why don't I come by your house and let's get a really detailed analysis as a real estate agent of what the value of your home is. And, maybe I can give you a couple of tips on some things that you could do right now to increase the value of your home, even if you're not going to move for 10 years. I got a couple of things we could do. And then while you're there having this conversation about their largest, financial investment of their life, you can talk to them about, hey, we know a lot of people are refinancing right now or doing a home equity line because to debt consolidation, to get those credit card, that 22% credit card, let's get a home equity line and get that paid off a lot easier and consolidate debt into one thing. Wow, you have a lot of equity in this house. If you thought about pulling out some of this equity and investing in either commercial real estate or out of area or out of state real estate, we can talk educating. And this is another question for you, is how many residential agents know how easy it is to invest in a triple net lease?
Probably 1%. It feels like a lot of them don't know what a triple net lease
They don't
is.
know what it is,
And
right?
if you don't know what it is, you're allowed to call me. I'll tell you exactly
Yeah.
what it is.
Please call him, because if residential agents are listening to this, understanding triple net lease and understanding how it works in a 1031 exchange and how there's so many cool benefits to it, which I won't get into. Chris is the expert. But like having a conversation with someone goes, oh, I don't want to buy a rental property because I want to do a tenants and toilets. Oh, well, then I got a solution for you. Right. And, so those are the kinds of conversations we can be having when we answer how's the market with, why don't we sit down and have a conversation about it? Because this is a lot more than, oh, the market's unbelievable. It's great. Yeah. It's terrible. It's a buyer's market. It's a seller's market. It's like, it's so deeply personal.
Yeah.
And if we're saying some throwaway comment, and at the worst case, we're not even capturing somebody's contact information of one of the parents at the soccer game or basketball, gets basketball season, high school basketball season. When the parents is asking you, it's like, hey, you know what? Let me get your phone number. Let's schedule a time to chat about this, because it's kind of a big deal.
It's such a big deal.
We're not going to talk about somebody's credit score at the basketball game. Like, that's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, you're getting into really intimate details. They might actually walk away feeling awkward.
Yeah.
That they opened up. And also, not that you're trying to leave mystery, but if you're at that dinner party, I've noticed it's much more valuable to speak to it just enough and keeping it pretty short but not abrupt, and to make them feel honored and that you're having normal, regular conversation and gaining rapport, but then to pivot and say, I would really love to continue this conversation in a different setting. Maybe we could grab coffee, or I meet me at my office, or I come to your house sometime and ask for their contact info. And then that way, it's because you could really turn off a lot of people at that event based on that conversation. And I think people get lost in just trying to go all the way to get them to say, yes, I'll work with you. In reality,
which is weird.
All you're really doing is trying to gain rapport, understand them, and start a relationship with them. And that takes time. And the best business, and I've heard you say it, is based on relationships.
Yeah, this is a relationship business. And it's not only relationship with prospective clients and referral sources, it's also relationships with our other realtor friends, whether they're in your area, they're commercial agents, they're out of your area. We get paid to make friends and then help our friends make great decisions.
And on top of that, I think it's also worthwhile just real estate agents gaining a good real estate agent sphere. I was looking for somebody in Lake Bay, Washington, Gig Harbor area today. And luckily I had some relationships and I could make something happen over there. Or another one, we're doing something down in, down by the mountains here, and you and I think that's really interesting. Yeah. And then also something that's happening in, Moses Lake. So it's just, and these are just even commercial to commercial real estate agents. Like, it really pays to dive deeper in relationships in different areas. And that kind of goes back to how we met. We met at a conference.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And no better place that I could think of to meet quality agents than at a conference, because these are the people that are investing back into their business.
When you are looking for a referral partner or somebody, a strategic advisor, it's going to be part of your, it doesn't live life doesn't live in a bubble. Your personal and professional network. Mm-hmm. What is criteria for you that you look for in a great strategic partner? Somebody
that's active and passionate about what they do. So they have a good knowledge base and they have good values for showing up and getting the job done. And if it can come through a referral because somebody's worked with them, wow. Even better, because somebody's already vetted them. Right. So there's a trust factor that has to happen, right? Yes. There's a trust. And I just want to say, you could keep going on that, but we have about 6+ minutes left. So I do want people to know exactly how to find it. Yes. No, I just was curious on your criteria. I like it.
Yeah,
I like it trust factor. Tell me a little bit more about that. I just want to give you a heads up.
Well, I mean, it's... my friend Todd Duncan wrote a book called High Trust Selling. And it's like, I firmly believe that all sales happens with trust, right? So we're helping somebody to see a vision of how life can be by resolving your challenge, right? You have a challenge, your space is too small, or your business is expanding, and you know what? Instead of just paying for a larger lease, let's buy the building, right? We can do these things, but wow, what is my life going to look like when this is all said and done, right? And so there has to be trust, and that I am casting a vision for you. Do you see it with me? Can we move along on this path together? And I'm gonna shepherd you through a really, really important investment, whether it's commercial real estate, residential real estate, or even if you're in the mortgage business, it's like, look, we're going to talk about your largest financial investments, your largest debt of your life. This is really important stuff. And we want to make sure that we are shepherding you through a process and guiding you down to this vision that's been created. And I think it's really cool.
I love that. You're speaking to the choir. And I think you and I should have a show just on sales and trust.
Woohoo!
All right.
Let's do it.
So I got 2 questions for you, and we have limited time. Number 1, how do people find you, and what else do you want them to know about your business?
Okay. People can find me, Coach Katey, Katey. Coach Katey on everything. So, and Coach Katey came from being a little league coach when my son was 5, and the name stuck. And I've been Coach Katey ever since. If anybody wants to talk about baseball, I'm always interested in having that kind of conversation. So Coach Katey, find me. You can DM me. If you want to be on my weekly email distribution, just go ahead and DM me, or the best email, and I'll put you on the list. I do keynote speaking. I like to do that a lot. I will do offsites. I do also do coaching. I tend to do more group coaching than one-on-one, because I believe there's power in the group with active agents, active loan officers that are doing that. So that's the best way to find me. It's just Coach Katey on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, all those. Just DM me your email if you want to be on my email list.
I'm going to get on your email list. I think I already am, but if I'm not, you're going to get another email from me.
Perfect.
All right. Next question. What does Made of More mean to you and your business?
When I was first thinking about the name of the show, I was like, what does that mean? And to me, Made of More is that for me, it feels like there's always more. There's more to learn. There's more to grow. I'm a firm believer that you're either growing or you're decaying. And so I'm always looking for people to help grow together, right? That how do we do that? So there's, whether I'm developing partnerships, whether somebody recommends a book or a podcast, or, hey, there's this movie you need to watch, this documentary you need to watch, because it's going to help have you look at things differently. I think that there is, that there's more. There's more to uncover. That I am always in a space of learning. That's what it means to me.
I love it. Yeah, Katey, what a gift for me that you came on this show today. Katey, say it again. You said it a couple times. You're down in California. Which city do you actually live in?
I'm going to just say San Francisco, because I grew up in the Bay Area, in the East Bay, kind of, east of Oakland. But I am planning to be in San Francisco in the next couple of months. I'm just going to keep saying it, because I'm putting it out there with my vision. I'm moving to San Francisco. I will be moving there. So
you are. Everybody's going to put that vibe out, and we're going to pray for you. We're gonna set that intention.
Yes.
Coach
all the
Katey
prayers,
is
the better.
I
need all the help I can get. Do
you have a specific building or neighborhood that you want to be in?
I do have a building.
Ooh, what do you want to share?
Yeah, the name of my middle name is Francis.
Yeah,
and it's called San Francisco is St. Francis, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the building is called Francesca, which is the Italian or Spanish pronunciation of Francis. And so I found this building has got views. It's centrally. I want to be able to walk everywhere. I don't want a car. I want to walk or take public transportation everywhere and hear the cable cars in the morning. And it's right in the intersection of the cable cars. It's awesome. So yes, I do.
I could see you there. I love San Francisco. I got family members that live down there. And
come visit
San Francisco area, San Rafael area, and the Sea Ranch area. So
nice.
Well, you've been listening to the show Made of More. Thank you, Coach Katey, for just it's been so much fun just having you on here, and definitely got to come back again, because you just have so much wisdom, experience, and And I feel a little bit better after talking to you about the real estate industry. So,
well, thank you. Thank you for having me on. It's an absolute pleasure. I love continuing to build and deepen our trust with each other and our friendship. And these connections, you are just such a gift. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You've been listening to the show Made of More. Chris Erdmann, and we got Coach Katey here. Thanks for tuning into this episode of Made of More on KKNW. Whether you're on the road, at the office, or listening from home, keep chasing what lights you up, keep building what matters, and never settle for less than the life you were made for. You are made of more. More purpose, more impact, more joy. Made of More is part of the Speaking Current network of shows and podcasts, all of which that are dedicated to inspiring listeners to build lives of meaning, connection, and value. You can find the Speaking Current network of shows, including Made of More, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. Until next Wednesday at 8 a.m. on KKNW, I'm Chris Erdmann. Stay bold, stay inspired, and stay made of more.